Every answer begins with a question. Why would people with no written language, no metal tools, no wheels, and no modern mathematics drag stones weighing as much as a school bus across the countryside, just to leave them standing in a windy field? What you're looking at is Stonehenge, a prehistoric monument built on the Salisbury Plain of southern England. At first glance, it seems simple: a ring of massive stones, some standing, some fallen, arranged in circles and horseshoes. But Stonehenge is not just a pile of rocks. It's one of the most carefully planned, long-lasting, and mysterious construction projects in human history. It took more than 1,000 years to build, spanning generations who never lived to see it finished. And the fact that people kept coming back to work on it again and again tells us one crucial thing: whatever Stonehenge was for, it mattered deeply. Archaeologists know the basics. Construction began around 3000 BCE. First came a circular ditch and bank. Later, enormous sarsen stones, some weighing over 25 tons, were raised into an outer ring. Smaller bluestones, hauled from the Prehistoric Hills in Wales nearly 150 miles away, were added and rearranged multiple times. And all of it was aligned with the movements of the sun, especially the summer solstice, when the sun rises perfectly over the heel stone and floods the center of the monument with light. That alignment alone tells us Stonehenge wasn't random. It was intentional. Mathematical. Observational. Built by people who watched the sky carefully, year after year, generation after generation. But here's where the story starts to get uncomfortable for our modern assumptions. Because if Stonehenge were only a calendar, it would be the most over-engineered calendar ever built. You don't need 25-ton stones, mortise and tenon joints carved into rock, and century-spanning labor to know when summer starts. Farming cultures around the world track seasons with far simpler markers. So why here? Why this scale? Why this precision? One extreme but logical idea is that Stonehenge wasn't just measuring time. It was controlling meaning. In prehistoric societies, time wasn't just a neutral measurement. Time was survival. Time decided when crops were planted, when animals migrated, when rituals were performed, when leaders were chosen, and when gods were believed to listen. If you could predict the sun, if you could appear to command it, you held power. Imagine standing inside Stonehenge at dawn on the solstice. The crowd gathers. The longest day arrives exactly when the stones say it will. To the people watching, this isn't astronomy. This is proof. Proof that someone understands the universe better than anyone else. Proof that the world is ordered, and that order has guardians. That makes Stonehenge less like a calendar, and more like a stage. Another long-standing theory is that Stonehenge was a burial site. Cremated human remains have been found nearby, suggesting it was associated with death and ancestors. But again, the scale raises questions. Why bring stones from hundreds of miles away just to mark graves? Unless death wasn't the end of the story. Some researchers believe Stonehenge functioned as a bridge between worlds. The bluestones, in particular, were believed by later legends to have healing powers. Even today, in medieval folklore, these stones were said to cure illness. Strip away the magic language, and what's left is fascinating: a belief that certain places and certain materials carry power. Which leads to a more radical idea. What if Stonehenge was built where it was because the land itself mattered? The Salisbury Plain sits on a complex landscape of underground water, fault lines, and natural acoustics. Experiments have shown that the stones can create strange sound effects: resonance, echoes, low-frequency vibrations. In the right conditions, voices carry oddly. Drums sound deeper. Footsteps feel amplified. To a prehistoric mind, that wouldn't feel like physics. It would feel alive. Stonehenge may have been a place where sound, stone, sky, and earth interacted in ways people couldn't explain, but could experience. A place where rituals felt real because the environment responded. Then there's the question everyone asks: how did they build it? No cranes. No iron tools. No written blueprints. And yet the stones are shaped with precision, fitted together with joints that wouldn't look out of place in medieval carpentry. This wasn't trial and error. This was expertise passed down over centuries. Which suggests something even more unsettling: Stonehenge wasn't built by a primitive society slowly stumbling forward. It was built by people who already knew what they were doing. That raises a bold possibility. What if Stonehenge represents the end of a knowledge tradition, not the beginning? Over 1,000 years, the monument was altered, adjusted, and reimagined. Each generation inherited not just stones, but instructions, stories, rules, meanings. And then, at some point, the building stopped. The knowledge faded. The purpose was forgotten. Stonehenge became a relic even to the people who lived nearby. History doesn't always move forward in straight lines. Sometimes it resets. Sometimes knowledge is lost faster than it's gained. And Stonehenge might be one of the clearest reminders of that. Today, we look at it and ask what it was for. But a better question might be, what kind of world produces something like this? A world where time was sacred. Where the sky was a clock. Where stones were messages. Where memory mattered so much that people were willing to spend lifetimes building something they would never see completed. Stonehenge survives not because it's mysterious, but because it was meaningful. And maybe the real mystery isn't what Stonehenge meant to them. Maybe it's why we stopped building things meant to last longer than ourselves. If you enjoyed this journey into one of humanity's deepest riddles, a like really helps the channel, and subscribing means you won't miss the next mystery we uncover. No pressure, Stonehenge waited thousands of years. We can wait one click.